Welcome to Vlogz Automotive Podcast, a hybrid call-in talk show where you, the viewer or listener of the Vlogz YouTube channel, can tune in and listen to the latest in automotive news and happenings within the automotive space. I'm Mario Gear. Want to be a part of the show? It's easy. Just call our show voicemail hotline at 805-419-5129 any time of the day of the week before the following Thursday and leave a message. Or please follow us on the Clubhouse app. Become a member of the Vlogz Gearheads Club on Clubhouse and raise your hand to come on stage and be a part of the community when we go live, most nights starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. So sit back, relax, and crack open a cold one. Honda unveils pictures of 3 new EVs at the new Civic hybrid launch. Honda has revealed the plans to launch 3 new electric vehicles, EVs, in Europe following the unveiling of its new hybrid-only Civic e-HEV hatchback. Honda's e-NY1 EV prototype will become a production reality in 2023. The Japanese brand will realize its ambition of electrifying its entire model range with the launch of the 11th generation Civic and has committed to a carbon neutral by 2050 on its way to an end to all sales of internal combustion engines vehicles by 2040. And it delivered a clear picture of its product strategy at the official unveiling of the new Civic. Its new edition will include an all-electric B segment SUV previewed as the e-NY1 prototype, a C segment full hybrid SUV, and a all-new CR-V, which will be available with both full hybrid and plug-in hybrid powertrain options for the first time. The e-NY1 compact SUV will arrive next year, Honda said. Swift 2 EV, Honda Motor Europe Senior Vice President Tom Gardner said, "We are already well advanced with our plans to further expand the choice of battery, electric, and hybrid vehicles for our customers and increase our offerings in the fast-growing B and C SUV segment. The new model will introduce in 2023 a set of course for the next generation of electrified Honda cars, all retaining the engaging driving dynamics, comfort, and exceptional usability to which our customers have become accustomed." In a recent manufacturer profile featured for AM Magazine, Honda UK Managing Director Jean-Marc Strange revealed that the brand's only current EV, the Honda E, has generated strong publicity and attracted conquest customers, but will deliver only 600 to 700 annual sales. Earlier this year, Honda Chief Executive Toshihiro Maibe revealed plans to launch 10 EVs in the next 5 years in a bid to fulfill his ambition for the brand to go fully electric by 2024. Stench said, "We finished with diesel a year ago, and after the last registration of the current Civic, we'll be finished with petrol. We'll then be one of the few suppliers to have only hybrid and battery electric BEV." New Civic set for reach the UK showrooms this autumn. The Civic e-HEV is powered by a 2-liter petrol engine that works in conjunction with 2 electric motors, giving it a total output of 183 PS and 315 Nm. Honda says the car should emit less than 110 kilograms of CO2. The all-new Civic is sleeker than before, with a bonnet line that is 25 millimeters lower than the last Civic and smoother panels. It also has a longer wheelbase, providing improvements in drivability and extra passenger space. To save weight and therefore improve efficiency, the Honda's tailgate is made from resin. On the inside, the new model's interior features more high-quality materials to give a more premium feel. A new 9-inch infotainment screen provides wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, while there's also a digital instrument cluster for the driver and a 12-speaker Bose stereo system on top spec models. The new Civic will be built in Japan following the closure of Honda's Swindon factory, where the 10th generation model is produced. Pricing and specification details will be available later this year before the car's official launch in autumn. There you go. Link to this article will be in the show notes so you guys can check it out, and stay tuned for more. JBR Capital to offset carbon emissions of high-end cars. Automotive finance provider JBR Capital has launched a new sustainability initiative in partnership with Carbon Neutral Britain to reduce the environmental impact of its clients' cars. Its new carbon offsetting program promises to offset the first 5,000 miles of carbon emissions for each car financed through the purchase of carbon credits. JBR Capital says the initiative will enable its customers to continue to enjoy driving, but to do so in an environmentally friendly manner as possible. Carbon Neutral Britain operates under the United Nations Framework Conversion on Climate Change. So far, its projects have offset more than 500,000 tonnages of CO2 and planted more than 3 million trees. CEO of JBR said, "We are highly responsible business, and our new sustainable strategy is proof of that ethos. I'm proud we are leading the automotive finance sector with our new ESG initiative, which will significantly offset carbon emissions from our clients' cars. We are champions of this industry, and we want to do the right thing through immediate actions, preserving this sector for the future, enabling our clients to simultaneously enjoy a passion for driving, but do so in a sustainable manner." JBR Capital was founded to exclusively finance the acquisition of high-performance sports cars, supercars, luxury, and prestige vehicles. Through consultation with its clients, JBR Capital has determined that 5,000 mile reflects their average annual usage. They will also be able to increase their carbon offsetting once they exceed these mileage. James Poitner, Director of Business Development at Carbon Neutral Britain, added, quote, "Increased CO2 emissions into the atmosphere is the biggest cause of global warming on our planet. By planting trees and funding carbon offsetting projects, we remove and prevent further CO2 emissions around the globe in the most cost-efficient and impactful way. Quote, "We have already helped many drivers take a positive step in the fight against climate change, and are delighted to be able to partner with a company of the caliber, foresight, and responsibility of JBR Capital," end quote. JBR Capital has also set a target to reduce its gross global Scope 1, 2, and selected Scope 3 emissions in tons of CO2 intensity output by 10% every year. As part of its environmental, social, and governance strategy, JBR has purchased carbon credits for 2019 through 2021 as it transitions towards net zero certification. Last year, the Finance and Leasing Association, FLA, said lender involvement should be central to the government's net zero plans, as finance is often the only way to put greener vehicles, plant and machinery, home improvements, or business equipment within reach of customers. Okay. The recent report published by Automotive Property Consulting, APC, found that net zero car dealerships are at the forefront of an automotive sector push to achieve net zero results. Although APC acknowledged in its car dealerships leading the charge to carbon zero report that electric vehicles are currently the main focus for manufacturers and the UK government. It said that the legislative spotlight will increasing fall on property, but car retailers were told that sustainable measures such as rooftop photovoltaic panels, solar thermal panels, thermal pumps, LED lights, green facades, and rainwater reuse systems will not only reduce emissions and costs in the long term, but reduce the risk of potential fines and increase in property values. There you have it, and that's what they're doing over in England. In my opinion, I wonder when it's going to be when they're going to try to implement these ideas over here in the United States. What do you guys think? Comment down below what you think, and links to this article will be in the show notes. Despite tax refunds up 13%, some consumers might not be in the vehicle buying place. Perhaps if there's not a parade of potential vehicle buyers arriving at dealerships this tax season, a trio of consumer surveys might shed light on why, even though the average federal income tax refund is 13% higher than this year than in 2021. According to filing data from the Internal Revenue Service through March 11th, the IRS has issued refunds of 45,319,000 filers so far this year, doling out a total of 151.928 billion. Those figures are 6.6 and 20.5% higher year over year, respectively. Those metrics also compute to the average refund of 3,417, which, according to the IRS, is about 13.3% higher than a year ago. For independent and buy here, pay here dealers moving a lot of metal this tax season, this refund average could mean a healthy down payment, especially since wholesale prices haven't softened too much. But for operators not seeing much of an uptick in retail sales this tax season, here are some potential reasons why. According to a study from H&R Block, a consumer survey by the tax preparation company showed that while 73% of those who struggle financially intend to save some or all of their tax refund, only 44% do, with many citing unexpected expenses as the top reason they are unable to save their refunds. Meanwhile, as part of Capital One's ongoing Marketplace Index survey, analysts at that institution say nearly half, 47% of the respondents expect a refund after filing their 2021 taxes, with nearly half of the lower earners, 43%, and 3 in the middle earners, 30%, saying their tax refunds would be very or moderately important to their overall financial health this year. Furthermore, 1 in 5 people overspent their 2021 holiday budget slightly or went well above, according to a consumer survey by ScoreSense, a credit score monitoring product. Quote, "We were surprised to find about half of the consumers used cash for holiday spending, but about only 1/5 of those we surveyed spent too much and regret it." That's in line with what we're seeing as consumers return to the pre-pandemic levels of credit problems and lowering credit scores. This is troubling when you consider that many consumers will not receive their usual tax refund to pay off holiday debt because they can't take the full write-off for child tax credits or for college loan insurance, said Carlos Medina, Senior Vice President at One Technologies, which offers ScoreSense. Quote, "We believe that these factors, along with inflation, will lead to more credit spending for basic living and that consumers will delay major purchases as long as possible. This is sadly a perfect storm for debt and credit problems, and the data is revealing it is happening now," Medina went on to say in a news release. So, yeah, food for thought. With gas prices getting as high as it is, are people using what money they get back from their tax returns, to fill up in the gas tank, purchase food, the basic living necessities? Comment down below. Are you expecting a tax return? And what are your plans for your tax return? Comment down below. Let's have a discussion about this. Maybe we can, if interest, I'll schedule a clubhouse meeting for this and we can discuss it. Call in, hear your thoughts, Here it is. How to rent Teslas as an independent company. This should be interesting. The car rental industry is finally catching on to electric vehicles and is quickly becoming a force in the electrification market. But one West Coast operator has been in the EV rental business for 3 years and opened up about both the challenges and opportunities in this expanding opportunity, which will soon go from niche to mainstream. Auto Rental News caught up with Jason Kennedy, president of Gateway Auto Holdings. The company exclusively rents electric vehicles in Southern California, and ARN learned about his firsthand experience. Kennedy rents Teslas, specifically Model X, Model S, and Model 3s. He wants his rental operation to be seen as a traditional car rental company because that's what we do. We only rent cars. There's not a huge mobility movement that we're creating here. It's just a propulsion of the vehicle is electric, he says. With the vehicle supply shortage amidst other rising costs, it's a good time for rental operators, particularly independents, to get into Teslas, as the brand's one price system and lack of volume discounts are a closer match to what rental operators are paying for traditional vehicles today. That one price is the same for major car rental companies and smaller operators. As for ownership costs and profitability, Kennedy believes that the Model 3 with a higher initial cost can pencil out against more mainstream vehicles. This comes down to his ability to command a higher daily rate, operator savings on maintenance, and the Model 3's tremendous resale value. And by running mostly Tesla, he can carry more parts inventory on hand to use as necessary. He does budget for a set of tires, as EVs are heavier and go through them quicker. Kennedy believes that with less maintenance needs, that EVs can stay in his fleet for longer than traditional rental life cycles. He keeps with Teslas in pristine condition, and most renters won't know the difference between model years. Plus, over-the-air updates constantly refresh the tech and can even manage some repairs. Gateway's rental process. Kennedy finds that renting EVs allows him to forego the traditional brick-and-mortar office with a counter, an agent, and a key handoff. Gateway mostly follows a contactless rental experience, whereby the customer reserves a car online, completes paperwork electronically, and receives remote access to the vehicle after choosing where it should be delivered. Electric mobility and electric rental businesses, and Tesla specifically, allow you a lot of freedom to do that, he says. Kennedy is clearly a fan of Tesla, mentioning their value is largely in the vehicle's intuitive user experience. You can basically walk up to them, step in, and drive away with the car, he says. The Tesla with no power button has a slight learning curve to the average renter, though meaning the operator needs to teach customers who've never been in such a technology advanced vehicle that it's intuitive, logical, and can be as simple as they want it to be. Some may want to get in and drive away, and others may want to get into the weeds with the infotainment system and really experience the vehicle. Either way, they get you from point A to point B quietly, quickly, and in a nice, clean way. We really want the customer to fully understand the vehicle, and we go through probably more rigorous explanation than needs to happen, he adds. Now everyone's on YouTube, everyone can Google how to start a Tesla. So there is that part of me that knows that the customers don't need me to explain everything to them, but I know they appreciate it because they've told us. Let's see. The most important thing to educate the car renter on is the vehicle's safety features, though for Tesla users will need to understand how to operate the autopilot technology and all that comes with proper and safe operation of such features, especially that the driver is ultimately responsible for the vehicle. Kenny says he will not enable the more autonomous self-driving mode. Renters must carry their own insurance to rent from Gateway because the LDW loss damage waiver that we would offer would be either cost prohibitive or not profitable enough for our small independent fleet. We would need a larger scale to make it profitable and manage that risks ourselves, he says. Solving the EV charging. In the early days of gas-powered cars and before gas stations were on every corner, people probably planned their trips strategically around when and where they would need to fuel up. This infancy stage is where electric vehicles are now, Kennedy says, noting that we're gaining around quickly. A September 2021 Reuters report estimated that about 43,000 public EV charging stations and around 120,000 charging ports in the U.S. This doesn't account for the home charging stations either. Now, Kennedy just hopes to see incentives go to the right places. Speaking of charging, one growing pain Kennedy feels is around receiving vehicles back without a full charge and renting those back out. Regardless, gas-powered vehicles with major rental companies provide a new rental with a full tank, while it varies with independent operators. Why would electricity be any different? I like to provide the customer with a full battery as often as I can, but it's not always possible, he says, adding that the issue will lessen as more public chargers come online. Kennedy does include a charge fee per day in the rental contract and cross-references that against the actual cost when returned, reconciling the two and refunding the customer the difference if they use less than the charge. Kennedy adds that for now, it's pretty easy to charge them while they clean the vehicle in between customers, which is usually close enough to full to rent out. In the event a vehicle comes back low and there's not enough time to recharge, Kennedy will bump the customer up to the next available model. We don't like to do that, but I'd rather have a happy customer rather than them drive 40 miles and have to charge again already. That's ridiculous, he says. Of course, you don't want to have too much supply and lost money, which is why he prefers to upgrade. Another example of a practice carried out over the major operators that just works well. Interesting points. There's more obviously charging stations. And if you've been watching last week's recent news of a Tesla event, I'm not going to show pictures or videos of it, but one individual took a Tesla and let's just say thought he was a long jumper in the car. And apparently it's rumored or alleged that it was a rental vehicle. So I wonder if Gateway was one of his inventories. Maybe I'll follow up with this company to find out if it was one of their vehicles. Comment down below what you guys think. Here are a few videos YouTube thinks you may enjoy. Be sure to follow me on all of my socials. So, crack open a cold one, sit back, relax, and have a blessed day.